The Keep It Clean podcast is an entertainment show. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are those of the host, co-host, or guests alone and do not reflect the views of any business, company, or corporation the host or guest may be affiliated with. Any facts presented should be fact-checked by the listener. We are not medical nor legal advisors. We are not political officials. Portions of this show may include copyrighted material used under fair use for commentary, criticism, or educational purposes. All rights belong to the original creators. Keep it clean.
Power to the people, we are back.
They're gonna skirt your 5-point star tattoo off your head in hell every day.
Keep it clean. Yeah, that's all you want to do. All right, man. Look,
if you're a right-wing girl dad, but really wanted a boy, you should support the T's. You might still have a chance.
Was there no wisdom? was there no wisdom passed along? It's what I'm saying.
And every time you see me, I keep it clean like a coaster.
Power to the people. We are back to do maintenance. You are tuned in to the latest episode of the Keep It Clean one-off series. I'm your host, Nico. We in the building. We got some special guests in this joint. Got the good brother Ray in the building. What's going on, man?
You know what I'm saying? We're going to be blessed and highly favored today.
As always, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to let you go ahead and get into it, brother. Let them know what we're doing today.
Say less, man. We coming in with the topic that's supposed to be for us, by us. And we're going to take back everything about us, man. We going to break down, get a little woke today, talking about Pan-Africanism. We're going to talk about foundational Black Americans. We're going to talk about ADOS, you know what I'm saying? We're bringing in the American Descendants of Slavery, and we're seeing how does that look in today's world when we reference it us, all right? But we do have two special guests with us. It's long overdue, man, because we talk about these fellas on a regular basis, and it's only a matter of time. I'm gonna start with the Atlanta representative. Can you introduce yourself? Let us know what you want us to know about you.
Yes, name. Appreciate y'all having me. Fan of the podcast. I'm a man of the people. That's all I can say. You know, I wear a lot of hats, but it's always for the betterment of my people.
Respect, man. And then fellow Texas, Mr. Alex. How goes it, man? Introduce yourself for the people.
What's happening, y'all? My name is Alex, grassroots community organizer. I worked in electoral politics from city council races all the way to presidential elections. So been around electoralism and also grassroots organizing. So I've been around, seen it on both sides.
Say less. And that's what we need for this conversation, man. So we gonna break it down for y'all. For y'all that are listening, we're gonna give you the information and we're gonna explore the conversation. If you're watching live, please feel free to add comments, ask some questions. It'd be much appreciated. The purpose of today's conversation is to get the conversation started. There won't be no finality of answers. We have clearly, as you see, 5 brothers up here that are doing their best just to put it into words on something that we want to represent us. It's still about community. I don't want you to forget that. So I'm going to add the questions. I'm going to let y'all know what it is, but how we're going to do it is break down the definitions of what each is and kind of what each thing represents, each movement, each party, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to give y'all the presentation. The presentation doesn't have anything too crazy, no names, none of that, but it has links for the sources so you can get started, because first and foremost, we need to get back to reading. I don't think we need questions for that. I know somebody wanted to give videos. You can watch the video after you read a little bit, but here's how we breaking it down, man. Here's how we breaking it down. We're going to start off. We're not a monolith, right? That's how we're breaking it down, right? So let's get into the first portion of it. We're starting with Pan-Africanism, right? Centers around unity among people of African descent, emphasizing shared heritage. The historical evolution shaped decolonization, inspired independence movements, and influenced the creation of continental institutions that promote cooperation, integration, and human rights. Then we have the democratic backsliding that's a part of Pan-Africanism. Despite these foundations, the movement still faces struggles, including repression of opposition, shrinking intellectual space, fraudulent elections, and strained relations between governments and academic communities. As a piece of it, it's still a continuous liberation, right? It's a continuous think piece. So stress the and urge citizens to challenge oppressive governments, our governance, reclaim cultural and intellectual spaces, and build democratic systems that reflect popular sovereignty. It's youth-led, and it's a grassroots movement. Even though it goes and starts well before our time, it relies on the youth to continue to push the movement. So are currently revitalizing authentic Pan-Africanism through cross-border solidarity, resistance to unconstitutional rule, and collaboration on democratic reforms. And then it requires deeper integration, protection of right, non-indifference, and global African unity, including engagement, form the wider diaspora as an essential part of the continental decision-making. Are we all in agreement so far?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Cool. Keep it simple. So we go into the next piece. American Descendants of Slavery, also short ADOS. So it centers its mission around reparations for the descendants of the U.S. chattel slavery. So it's a unique lineage-based justice claim noted in multi-generational plunder, unfulfilled Reconstruction promises, and the economic exclusion that followed. Organization calls for multi-generational retribution, which includes direct payments, land distribution, protective policies, and anti-discrimination measures designed to safeguard descendants of slavery from predatory systems, right? And then the reparations claims expands beyond the descendants of U.S. slavery. ADOS supports broader policies and address racial disparities affecting all Black Americans and welcomes people of all backgrounds to participate in its cause. It informs us of the Black agenda, data-driven policy framework designed to eliminate long-standing racial inequities, particularly the lineage-based wealth gap, by outlining systematic solutions for all Black Americans while also advancing a national reparations program. And then for reparations specifically, must be federally led program providing at least 20 trillion in cash payments to American descendants of slavery, supported by ongoing targeted policies and protections that remain in place until the racial wealth gap between white Americans and ADOS is fully closed. Last but not least, ethnic designation and protection, which calls for the descendants of the U.S. chattel slavery to be formally designated as a protected ethnic class through executive action and federal election, and the creation of an Office of ADOS Affairs established by Congress or by presidential executive order if necessary. We good on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
We solid? Okay. Then we get to our third piece of the conversation. Foundational Black Americans, also known as FBA. Deep lineage and early origins. From 1526, the FBA traced their roots to the earliest Africans in the U.S., beginning with the 1526 revolt against Spanish colonizers and integration into Native societies. Nearly a century before 1619, builders of the nation as descendants of enslaved freedmen, FBA laid the economic, political, and cultural foundation of the United States, contributing to agriculture, infrastructure, arts, and activism. For their believed legacy of strength and identity, FBA is a lineage, not an organization. With over 43 million descendants today, their legacy centers on resilience, resistance, innovation, and an ongoing fight for justice. Who is FBA and who is not? This is very important for those that are listening because it is a pivotal thing within the movement. It's contentious. I'll go. Yeah, I appreciate that. Black people who can trace their lineage to the American system of slavery, at least one parent must come from a non-immigrant U.S. background. Those whose lineage traces to Caribbean slavery are not considered FBA. Half FBA individuals, people with one FBA parent and one immigrant parent, are still considered FBA. The concerns about the dual allegiances. Their text warns that individuals with mixed or non-FBA backgrounds may have divided loyalties, and argue that FBA leadership and representation should come from a full FBA or verified loyal allies. We good there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very simple. Very simple. Appreciate y'all. So with those three groups, or those three movements, groups, ideas, people, however you want to label it, these are the questions that we are trying to answer tonight. Number one, what is the benefit of American Black people isolating ourselves from our African global community? Number two, If we are not a monolith, is Pan-Africanism a contradiction or oxymoron to this belief? And number 3, what is everyone's vision of reparations if they were ever granted? How would you want them paid? Those are the 3 questions that hopefully our conversation gets towards answering. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask y'all, man. Which one do y'all want to talk about first?
Honestly, I mean, where I stand is like I guess, is Pan-Africanism a contradictory movement to ADOS or the other one? And yeah, like that's where I want to start.
Say less. Anybody have disagreements? Y'all are in agreement with it?
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Say less. Okay. So for that question, does it have any oxymorons? I think a great way for us to get to it, what is y'all's familiarity with any of these groups? If you have any, do you have any experiences yourselves? Have you participated in studying of it? Do you know anybody that does? I think we could start with the ADOS movement. I feel like that's probably one of the more recent ones that's gained some traction. You know, the popularity of it started around 2017, 2018, became more of a political movement. So with everything that we've been living in, it's kind of been intertwined, a bunch of hashtags, if you will, more notable people that trying to touch to for us millennial Gen X generations, man. Do y'all have any familiarity with ADOS?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Gwen. No, go ahead, Gwen.
I don't have deep research studies into either or. I do study genealogy as it pertains to my family, and I just can't agree with the timeline politics that both carry. You know, it's sort of like Facebook material. If that makes any sense to me. Well, it makes any sense to y'all. Where it's like the same, you know, folks have the same conversation every day on it instead of taking those tools and applying. I'm not putting that on everybody within both organizations or just both sides of the movement as far as like people just being individuals. But as far as my first introduction to both those acronyms, both those sides, I just see more arguments on who got the more, you know, knowledge on what you got going on, you know? Or I also feel like it pushes us back into being a monolith, you know, because history is very diverse for everybody on sides. You know, anybody who feels back into their family history would understand it's not just one lineage. Like, even if you have your direct bloodline, everybody migrates from different spaces and places in the nation. I'm not even talking about from outside of the U.S. in here, but as far as like, you know, where their lineage comes from, you know, from both sides. I want to say it's black folks, but just in general, we pick a side. We know our mom's side of the family, maybe a little bit of the pop side, or vice versa. Who with the pop side, no auntie or two on the other side. But both sides come from different branches of life, different colors, different shades, and just different history. So I feel like even if we do say, okay, I have ancestors that were enslaved in this nation, it still doesn't mean that it just came from one specific type of black, you know? It's just I feel like it covers just a lot of answers folks can't find the answer to, so it's just a band-aid on it or a remedy to it, but it doesn't really I don't see where directional action can be a solve all for everybody with the differences.
Yeah, agreed. My first kind of I didn't have a lot of interaction with ADOS people for real. First like time I kind of seen them was like when Talib Kweli was getting packed out on Twitter. After that, I kind of seen a few interviews, but other than that, it wasn't nothing like, you know, nothing too crazy. FBA, I've been harassed by them folks on the internet plenty of times. I've done a bit of research into just like figuring out kind of what their movement kind of is about and like who runs it. I got my own issues with that, but I don't really know nobody in real life that claims himself to be a FBA for real. And if I did, I probably wouldn't associate with him. Yeah, that's kind of where I sit with them folks.
Bodega, Alex.
My interactions with them are very, very brief. There was a lot of ADOS conversations happening in Clubhouse back when it was like invite only, and it was primarily music and tech execs and those kind of things. And I sat in on a bunch of those conversations just to kind of hear a point of view. Same thing with like FDA. Sat in on a few of their conversations across Twitter, and have done kind of like my own like half-hearted research, if I'm perfectly honest. I have fundamental disagreements with their approach and what I view as exceptionalism, a very kind of American centered point of view. If some aspects is fair, but it's also short-sighted in its accomplishment. So
Okay, brother Alex.
Yeah, my bad. My shit died. I got the janky set up. So
It's okay, man. It's okay.
for sure.
Came back.
Yeah. So as an organizer, bro, I've seen this. I would say this is a culmination of things going back. I would say, as a reaction to the failure of the Obama years. And what I mean by that is you have your first, so-called black president. 2008 happened, mortgage crisis happened, the economy tanked, black people went backwards. They lost a lot of wealth. And during the Obama years, he bailed out the banks. That hurt black home ownership. He kind of ushered in the Uberization of work, fighting unions and getting, the 1099 contract. So that hurt a lot of jobs for black folks. There's some immigration issues, et cetera, et cetera. And it was identity politics on steroids, and I've seen black folks in good faith, you know what I'm saying, with all the representation and symbolism, but a lot of poor and working class black folks kind of did not do well materially under Obama and have not shaken back since that. So they feel like they've seen, LGBTQ rights and immigration rights and certain other things take the forefront. And they're saying, well, like, hey, we still haven't recovered from, the financial meltdown. And, now we got a black president and we catching heat, with all these police killings and all this other stuff. And, people get killed, some black folks get killed in a church by white supremacists. You over here, cosplaying, singing, some church songs and all that. And then when you go to Howard University, these brothers have graduated and stuff, and you kind of finger wagging saying, oh, no excuses, no, nothing. So this is a reaction against the failure of the Obama years, the neoliberalism over the Obama years, and kind of the benign neglect of the Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I agree with FBI 80, but I understand where the reaction and the sentiment is coming from. Like this didn't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? Especially with COVID, that went through overdrive. The Biden years went through overdrive. So I mean, some of the gripes and some of the stuff is legit. But do I think they're politically sophisticated enough to understand what that was and how to go about it? Not necessarily. Some of them, yes, not all of them. And I think that's on us to kind of, I don't want to say educate them, but try to give them another perspective and guide them in the right way. You feel me?
It seems like, at least for the four of y'all, y'all aren't with it, which is understandable. There's levels to the isolation, it appears, right? FBA is just fully, you're this or you're not, period. You're either one of us or you're not. Where ADOS is kind of like, we kind of inclusive. Like, if you want to help us out, for sure, come over here. You know, we gonna work with us. But if you want to be a part of this movement, here's an invite. ADOS almost sounds like the invite to the cookout in a way, right? Where Pan-Africanism is saying we're gonna expand outside the states. It seems like there's levels to each one. So with that being said, is there any benefit in isolation? Is there any benefit in partially having people there, or is it just not necessarily blow the doors open, but you need to at least let people come into the table to have that conversation? How do y'all feel about that? Is there any benefits to FBA? We'll start there. Like, as far as the isolation, them saying you need to be specifically American slave, not Caribbean, not anything else, American slave. Is there any benefits to any part of that movement?
FDA is a very American response to an American problem. And my fundamental belief with them is that you cannot. I don't want to sound ignorant. I would definitely love to speak with like an FDA member, but like if you approach American capitalism, American racism, American exploitation with American tactics of exclusion, exceptionalism, specifically needing to trace your roots back, to verify your identity, to, you know, X, Y, and Z, you're stuck running a rat race, right? Like, you are effectively trying to prove that you went through this specific brand of slavery. You went through this specific brand of trauma. It's almost as if like the way it come across anyway, it comes across as my trauma is more significant than yours, or my trauma is more important than yours. Now, if the standpoint is, hey, we have American problems that we need to solve, and I can't help solve the greater problems or be a part of the entirety of Pan-Africanism before solving my own core issues, I can see that point. I can certainly see that point. But I still feel like it's fundamentally the wrong way to go about it. And you know, I hear the ADOS arguments as well. You know, with our plights being specific to America, right? I completely hear that. But ultimately, none of the diaspora, no one from the diaspora can come up without the other members of the diaspora. And no one within the separate diaspora groups don't seem to understand that. Like, regardless of what you think our origins are, you know what I'm saying? 12 tribes of Israel. If you think some of us are directly native descendants, if you know you're thinking a grand conspiracy of like, you know, we aren't actually Africans, like however you give it up, right? Like however you give up your mysticism, ultimately you're a nigga on the like in the personal stage and on the world stage. You're a nigga, right? And what your cultural differences may be and how you identify yourself or whatever the case may give you a slight grace. Fundamentally, we deal with the same levels of capitalism and exploitation. And in the same vein, all of our women are disappearing, regardless of where you come from in the diaspora. And so it's a really international issue that we need to address collectively. Because I believe that's the only way that we hold true power.
Say less. Promise.
I agree with both saying on a lot of topics on that hand, especially with while we're focusing on this, birth rates are declining, you know, or mortality rates on birth, you know, is something to be looked into on a community scale. And along with that, there's just a lot more issues to be focused on hand while still searching, you know, on personal backgrounds. Because I think it's contradictory to try to come together as a black nation while isolating the rest of the diaspora, which America, there's not like a sole group. The diaspora is within this nation. So, and like we're saying, it being an American issue, sort of concept. Slavery is not unique to the North U.S. It's an issue in each part. Kind of share the history, and so why, when American slavery, and we got to pull ourselves up together, close out the rest, and exchange resources. When the history of our great came from us coming from one place to the next, exchanging architecture, agriculture, literature, science, and moving to the next spot doing the same thing. I don't feel like we, as citizens, are global minded. I feel like we're city, but we don't really focus out on our state as a whole, but just really. And I feel like once we sort it, then national, then like folks that think locally, move locally, and that type of sense. I say once we try to explore what worked in other countries, worked in other groups, in pieces of a time, that's their information for what we can kind of do now. That's something I got from. I think that would set us back more forward, just to keep it playing.
Okay, and before we get to Alex and Nick, we did get a question or a statement, just seeing how y'all feel about this. As far as the pursuit of reparations, do y'all feel, I should have added this to the question, do y'all feel that there's some benefit to specifically, or to make your case specifically with the delineation and then build upwards, if you will? That was one of the questions we had, or statements we had in the comments. Start with isolation to get the ball rolling and then spread back out. Is there any benefit to that? Do you think that's helpful?
I mean, I don't think it's nothing.
Alex and Nick, either one.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing necessarily wrong with that idea or strategy. I just think it has to be coordinated in tandem with the greater strategy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think FBA or ADOS in their sentiment is wrong as far as like having a claim to American reparations, like specifically, like for like to say like, oh, if you're considered black but you're like Caribbean and have like you came here through immigration, so your family doesn't have the exact same remnants of chattel slavery as, like, you may have still been redlined, but the different is just a little bit different as far as like the wealth gap, opportunity, things like that. I don't think it's nothing wrong with them saying there's a specific claim that we have to these reparations. I don't think trying to get that started is a bad thing either. I just think where they kind of missed the mark is in the delineation of like isolating to say until we get this, we can't do anything else. Like, I think the idea of like being able to attack on all cylinders is something that they kind of miss, to where it's like we can do this and do that and do that without like losing sight of what we're trying to get done. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Alex, what you thinking?
Yeah, I would agree with his last statement that you got to walk and chew gum at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And also want to double back on kind of the last subject we were talking about. So my thing with that is, how can I put this? Culturally, with Caribbean and Africans, continental Africans, us Black Americans are definitely different. They come from countries where they're the majority. Neocolonialism hit their stuff, but they're still in charge of their country. You know what I'm saying? And they have their own class issues in their country. Same thing here. So I agree. Some of the stuff is short-sighted because we do have a lot of sellouts, turncoats, buck dancers, coons amongst Black Americans. So when they say, oh, no, you're a tether, you're a sellout. You can't, man. Again, you have Kwame Ture, you have Farrakhan, you have a whole bunch of Marcus Garvey, you got a whole bunch of people that came through and show love and really build some shit. So we got to look at them as an individual and not just be like, okay, well, you're a tether, you're a Jamaican tether, so we're not rocking with you. My thing is, if you support Black Americans, then that's a good thing. And then I'm gonna get some flack for this, but other groups consider themselves, oh, I'm Jamaican, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm Nigerian. Here, we're kind of the vanguard of Blackness. You know, we had to usher in what it meant to be a Black person, that you are Black, because we got cut off from, you know what I'm saying, our ancestral stuff. So again, kind of like with a Dominican, you see a nigga Dominican and they'll say, oh, I'm no Black poppy, I'm Dominican. Same thing with a Nigerian. They say, oh, I'm not Black. You know what I'm saying? I'm Igbo, I'm Hausa. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is a phenomenon. Again, that's the reaction, ADOS and FBA. We can't act like some folks didn't come over here and shit on Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's been a one-sided conversation, not right here, but like just on the internet saying, okay, well, FBA is wrong, ADOS is wrong. And like, yeah, they're wrong to an extent on certain things, but like, it's a reaction. This is coming from a real reaction from real lived experience and other stuff. I mean, I've been around a lot of Africans, a lot of Caribbeans, and they'll say, oh, you Black Americans, you have no culture, you're not this, you're not that. And, you know, again, they'll suck up to white people just like our turncoats will suck up to white people. So this isn't just coming out of a vacuum, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel as if it's not necessarily isolating, but us recalibrating interests of Black folks in America and trying to get other people on board with what's advantageous to Black Americans here, because a lot of people have benefited off of our blood and treasure of our ancestors here, bro. You know, the Hart-Celler Act after the Civil Rights Act. A lot of these immigrant groups and other people are here because of what our ancestors did, the fight that they threw up. So let's be real. There's a lot of people that come over here and disrespect Black Americans. And again, this isn't coming out of a vacuum. So I understand, again, the reaction and the sentiment and the pushback, but I feel like it could be done better in a more proactive way. You feel me?
Can you have isolated agendas within the diaspora and still be progressive moving forward altogether? So,
I don't think it's isolation. I think it's just focus. Sometimes you're like, again, when you're on an airplane and they say you got to put your own airbag on first before you can help anybody. That's what I look at it as. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Thoughts on that perspective? Because you seem to be out of the panel.
Yeah.
You might have a little bit more of an open door.
Yeah.
For part of the ideology. And don't let me misspeak for y'all three. I apologize if I am. But you know, the inclusiveness of, that's a good example. The airbag. You drop. You can only help other people if you could take care of you first.
Yes.
Is that a good approach? Because that seems like the logical approach. I can understand. Same thing that he's saying. I can understand where you get into that moment of, I got to help me before I can help somebody else, and maybe just trying to walk or avoid that line of appearing selfish, if you will.
I think the line you gotta walk though is like, cause in that I understand the sentiment of like, you can't help nobody until you help yourself get your house in order before you critique somebody else's or try to do anything or put something in somebody else's. I get that, but at the same time, it would make sense if there was a collective like black understanding across the board of like what we're trying to do. Everybody is in on this plan and we all have an understanding, but that's monolithic. So then you get back into the individual. I got to make sure I'm straight, but your straight and my straight might not be the same straight. Yeah. So if we just sitting here trying to make sure everybody's straight before we do anything else, it's like, how long is that actually going to take? And then you also have the people that's within the diaspora or within the group in America that's don't give a damn about that shit.
Because to your point, I'll say this really quickly. 2 of the 3 seem to have a defined idea of who they are. FBA, Pan-Africanism, right? ADOS seems to heavily rely on the governmental aspect to define it, right? They do have some definitions. They specify a little bit, but all of this is still heavily reliant on somebody else.
Well, I mean, ultimately, ADOS effectively wants they want the native treatment. Effectively, we want to be a defined group under government protection with these government subsidies, and this is what the payout is going to be for Black Americans who experienced slavery under this period of time, which is fair, right? Like fair ask. A long shot, like not even a long shot, like a to the moon and beyond.
A Charlie Kirk shot.
Yeah, like to be yeah,
Sorry.
like
My fault.
the natives, like they do have some similarities in how they were treated, and they have some stark differences in how they were exploited. But I mean, ultimately, like you're Black, you on the the lowest of the totem pole. It doesn't like reparations, land mass, like nah, we're receiving those things for a government to actually acknowledge what it did to its people, not even close.
Yeah, the United States government will never, and I hate to say it, and this is where I disagree with all of them and more inclined with kind of the Pan-Africanism, is that, bro, the United States is, they're never giving niggas $20 trillion. You're going to have to get it in blood. White people will salt the fucking earth before they give a nigga $1. It's not happening. The destruction of the United States, I know terrorist shit. The destruction of the United States will bring about reparations for Black people. You're not going to get it from Uncle Sam. So that's my disagreement with ADOS, like, with the native treatment. Bro, they going to salt the earth before they give niggas anything. $20 trillion, you're going to have to get it in blood from them, honestly. So again, capitalism, America has to be decolonized. It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to lead them to that logical conclusion. But again, going to your point, they're still looking at themselves through the lens of the federal government. You know what I mean?
Yeah, through a protected race, a protected people. And again, the Constitution was written. The Constitution had to be amended for us to be equal in name. Niggas was free, and then niggas instantly became prisoners. You know what I'm saying? Like the intersection of state, federal, and private, industry complex with prisons was specifically designed to entrap Black Americans. Like niggas is not like they not giving that up. And the only reparation, let me be more specific in that. The only reparation that a Black American will ever receive after the destruction of the United States is some land. Like that's it.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Which means that like for niggas, right? And I use this term specifically for niggas. That means like y'all are gonna have to get back into the field literally. You have to know how to till the soil literally, how to grow crops, how to farm land. When most Black people talk about reparations, y'all niggas not talking about hard labor. You're not talking about 5 a.m. wake up and working on working the soil for 13, 14 hours, for land and water rights. That's not what you talking about. You talking about give me a bag and let me kick back and quit my job and like take it easy, take some rest. And I mean, that's cool, but it's also not very productive to the overall embetterment of Black Americans. So
and it'll be a flim flam, like Kwame Ture said. The white man can give you $1 million and all the green paper, and the next day they say, okay, we're only taking red money now.
Facts.
And you presented me a segue, and I apologize, promise, if you got something that you wanted to add.
No, you good.
I wanna ask this for the floor as we get ready to tackle the second question. Similar to how we do with entertainment, we understand that some of these movements amongst the diaspora get started, and you at some point might end up side-eyeing whoever was the initial face or faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be difficult when you look at something like ADOS, because when I'm doing my research, and I'm just asking for the floor, when I'm doing my research, the way that it came across to me, I was like, bro, y'all just took BLM and made it a little bit more conservative. You just rotated with the president that became available to try to get on that side, especially since you want to make it a branch of government, or to Bodega's point, the native treatment. So how, if you do, how do y'all try to keep the progression going forward while separating from a turncoat that might get exposed within said movement?
That's hard.
Because we saw what BLM did. Like every one of us has probably been in that situation where you came across someone that's not black, and then you had to argue with yourself on, do I feel like explaining there's a separation between the movement and the organization? Do I have the time today to even waste on it? Because even if I explained it to you in great detail, you don't care. Like, you don't care, and now I don't care, and then you mess around and lose some of us in the moment because of however that particular turncoat expose themselves.
Promise.
My fault. I was stuck in a different scenario.
It's okay.
Yeah, phrase.
Mike, can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Phrase it.
Like, almost in the same way of separating the art from the artist. You know how that's always an argument when we come to certain entertainers and whether the case may be. Is that a possibility for in y'all's eyes when it comes to these types of movements? If for ADOS, if depending on how you feel, whichever side of the fence that you might lean on politically, you go through their website, it is Trump everything. And we experienced something like this when it came to the BLM movement, where there was the organization that got started and they essentially shot us in the back as a people. And you now have to argue, well, we're not talking about the organization, we're talking about the movement, but we know how quickly that goes. So it's one thing to deal with something on the outside and they have their perception. It's another thing on how do you handle it when you have somebody that's a turncoat or they're a tap dancer and they're associated with this. Can you separate that to try to push forward the progressiveness of what something that you might believe in or see that is beneficial for the diaspora? Or are y'all like on the side of, man, a horse with a broken leg, put it down?
Who want to go?
You could reform like if the principle but the leader what issue, as long like that with that they actually see toward the mission for sure. I don't think that ever get rid of the term.
You might cutting in and out.
You get.
Hold on.
Let me switch my mic.
Yeah, while you do that, anybody
Go ahead about that guy. I see you wanted to jump in. Go ahead, bro.
I think I understand where Promise's sentiments were going. I mean, if you really want to go the route of reforming someone based upon what the principle behind their action, right? It is very, very important to learn what that is effectively, because there may be somebody who can be saved, right? I mean, ultimately, that's how we interact in relationships and everything else. Is like what is the principle of the action? What triggered this specific action? And can it be adjusted? Can it be reformed? Can we work through it? That is great, right? And promise, if I'm going off on a tangent based upon like loosely what I heard, I understand. Please
Now,
correct me.
now
if
you're
I'm
on
wrong.
it. You can hear me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah,
hear
you good now.
And so like that part of it is understandable, but I think with something as serious as this, right? You're talking about effectively the retaking of power, which will in some regards make us equals if separate. I think dissension and turncoats are a very, very hard thing to try to reform in the midst of already fighting against whatever the designated enemy is, be it capitalism, be it racism, be it, you know, exploitation, be it like however you signify that. I was recently reading about Richard Aoki or Oki. He was an Asian Black Panther who was really, really, really early in the movement and was a pivotal member of, like, you know, the Rainbow Coalition and all the other type of shit. And he was an FBI informant the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
He was an FBI informant the entire time. And so like think about, you know, he's a famous one, right? But like,
And pause really quick. I'm so sorry, but
Uh-huh.
I don't want to do this to you, but I feel like we do have to clarify for those that are unaware. The Rainbow Coalition is probably not what your first instinct was, right? The Rainbow Coalition, just to be clear, not trying to be disrespectful, is more so in regards to the Black Panther Party. For those that don't know, right?
the
Continue, my brother.
collective the collective plight of oppressed people around the world, not exclusively Black Americans, but Hispanics, Asians,
White folks.
women, white folks, women. It was more so a movement towards the elimination of like capitalism than it was a, you know, Black progressive movement towards, say, freedom or equality. um the problem with that is that like there are so many dissenters, and some of this is going to be has to be a get down or lay down mentality, unfortunately. If I cannot, and it's crazy because it's a slippery slope, because you start talking about dictatorships, or even as closest as fascism, if you really want to go that far, when you talk about people having to get down and lay down for a specific cause, but at the same time they crumble without them. The Black Lives Matter movement is a prime example of that. There was a group that incorporated BLM that were receiving donations from companies because companies wanted to be seen as on the right side of history. And then we don't know where those funds went. We don't know where those funds went. We don't know where
It went
those
to a
people
house.
went. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what actually happened to those. Meanwhile, the people who were on the front lines who made the saying popular
Are dead.
all mysteriously
jail.
died.
Are
Yeah,
dead.
in jail.
In
Yeah,
jail.
R.I.P. Darren Sills.
yeah, they're dead or in jail
That was a
mysteriously,
R.I.P.
all mysteriously. So like you can't tolerate that, like in something that is this serious, in something that is literally life or stagnation, and that stagnation is just a slow death for all Black peoples across the world. You can't tolerate it. Like there's no toleration for that at all.
So
We are
besides someone like Ben Carson, like we always had the extreme names that you quick to cut off anyways. We not thinking twice about it. Let's say if you have, because it kind of leads us into that second question. if we're not all monoliths and you start having certain delineations, right? Because we don't have a common understanding in the midst of moving around, you're going to have delineations from an ideal or a movement. If we lack the foundation, is it still contradictory when we start leaning into something like a Pan-Africanism? Because the contradiction might already be in the movement, let alone the idea, the belief of what Pan-Africanism is being more so all-inclusive. Is it a monolith? Is it not? Is it a contradiction? Is it an oxymoron?
I would say first, I would say the move towards Pan-Africanism, it could be the move towards the foundation piece. Like, that's a big foundational piece. And it's not to say that the other two aren't attempts at moves towards a foundational piece, because they are. But I think in this one, there's a more broad spectrum that you can pull from, and more people, more resources, more things that you can coordinate to make the job not as what's the word? But to make the job not as like strenuous as trying to do it by yourself, or just with this one specific delineation over here before we get to that over there. Like, again, like back to walking and chewing gum at the same time. Promise, I see you have pulled your mic up, so you go ahead. Oh wait, hold on. There you go. Go ahead. Oh shit. Hold on. Yeah, you good now. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be saved by no 501, 1099, LLC. It don't matter. I think your actions, your plans, your trusts, legacies, foundations within your family, within each family, as long as that has some structure, it'll push us way further than us still huddled up. Like, we're not a monolith, y'all, but what are we all going to do under this, this movement? I've told Nick for years, Black people as a nation we need charters, we need lodges. Like, we got to really get our own community halls to solve our issues, because it's not going to be solved on the timeline. Everybody lives in a different place. And a dude in Montana is not going to solve any issue in San Francisco unless he goes to San Francisco. And we look at a lot of movements and a lot of leadership that was pivotal in times with a fraction of the tools we have now. You know what I mean? Like, communication can be happening in an instant, yet people want to minimalize the group efforts when like W.E.B. Du Bois, for instance, like, for his actions that he did.
The boys, please.
I'm on the Du Bois spectrum, bro. I hate when people say Du Bois or any other Du Bois. Don't worry about it. I met was a Du Bois.
I did the same thing to Ray before we start. Go ahead, do your thing. I don't want to cut you out. Go ahead.
But his body's laid in the motherland. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he was just walking and talking. It was like, all right, I'm in the mansion now. Y'all do what y'all need to do. So I feel like with that history, folks should follow the paths or follow the actions of folks whose stories, told their measures. Because we like to, like, in a sense where other groups glorify or posterize their serial killers and their, those type of folks, I feel like we do for our Judas within the groups, because it's just most exciting for the history, but it delineates from the actual messages, you know what I mean? Or delineates from the actual movement within itself to show folks we can't do this because this is what happens. And it's just too much examples of movements that happened that was was in movements of Pan-Africanism that people didn't really look at as that. Like, even hip hop, for an instance, where New York is a different place in general, where, say it wasn't the US, it's 5 islands, you know what I mean? Essentially full of Black people, full of Caribbeans, full of Africans, Southern Americans that get together on ideas, get together in communities. And folks have, their Spanish directed days, their African rooted days, their borough days, or even just for their block. But folks of all nations get together under those movements. Same thing with Philly. I grew up seeing Muslim brothers and Christian brothers move in the same instance. It wasn't on, I'm on this type of time. it didn't matter. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
introduced to Ramadan the same way I was introduced to Easter and everything else, just off of environments. You know, even with
Yeah.
Hispanics, it's a very heavy Mexican population, Puerto Rican and Dominican population up north. But nobody let that be been a difference before that, because folks didn't run to Facebook. There was no Facebook to run to do that. So all your issues you had to solve on the ground floor. And I feel like it's easy to take things to the timeline and kind of, you know, message chat the whole day away instead of using that type of energy towards the action. And then that's pretty much it. I don't know how to wrap it, but those are my ideas on it. It really can't be saved by just, okay, we officiated this LLC on it, now let's start moving towards it. It's like it should have been moved, and the results from the movement should lead in the organizations. Because we're doing this group got started, you know.
Exactly.
Or I have one more example, like the Freedom Writers Project, or the Freedmen Writers Project, which like Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes, a lot of folks came from. And it brought out great literature, brought out great studies on Black history, Black genealogy, but it didn't need to be a whole national effort. For the folks who did get the grants and bring out the research, bring out the literature that they did, was necessary towards the movement, but not everybody of every state, every city, every family had to, you know, put their focus towards that for the results to be the same. So I could be over here focused on this, folks in New York, New Jersey, we focus on that. And once results start to birth themselves, then we can kind of mat those together. But if we don't have any manufacturing, if we don't have any, or we don't control our media, we don't control our communications, we don't control our agriculture or education, the last thing we need to do is shut our doors, because other nations that actually do agree with us, you know, we just don't talk to them on a personal level enough to know we can extract resources, we can push resources. Some folks don't braid like Black Americans, or, you know, I can imagine American fashion or Black fashion in a lot of cities and countries in Africa, because, you know, they're giving them the loser of the Super Bowls merch every year, or some NYPD merch.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a Black fashion artist over here that he probably on Auburn, but, you know, Burkina Faso probably will wear the joint. You know, Nigeria will probably love it. Nairobi will probably love it. So, and again, those things that don't need LLCs, those things that need individual and just group focused actions without looking over your shoulder, seeing what the next group is doing or contributing to. It's about, you know, everybody's individual focus.
You said something right quick. That should be a rule of thumb. A business shouldn't start your movement. A business should come from the movement itself. There's no, to your point, you shouldn't need an LLC, a tax ID number to then say, you know what, we're going to band together and do that. That should be branches of it, because that's how the community locks in anyways. If y'all are pushing something within the movement, then you have the mom and pop shop, you have the stores for the hair, beauty supply. Like you say, you start to integrate with other people, but the businesses should be secondary to the movement to begin with, man. If you run into a situation and you get some type of grassroots movement and they already got an LLC, you just pause right quick. just pause, go outside, touch grass, circle back in, and just make sure, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to look into that stuff. If they just got, there's not too much new under the sun. You should be clear there too. A lot of these things are just a new name put on an old movement. But if they got merch already, ask some questions, bro. Ask some questions, man. You know,
real quick, I just wanted to say to the because what Bodega said and what Promise I said, just a piece of it not being like you can't tolerate it, the turncoat piece of it. I agree. Like there's no, like, separating art from an artist is one thing, and we all know how I feel about that. I'm very, very towards the middle on that. It depends on what you was doing, whether we could separate it or not. But with this or with something like this, it's like, bro, this is movement life work. It's people's lives on the line based on the work that you're doing or the work that you say you're doing. Back to what we were saying on religion on the last podcast. Like there's people that are pulling up in mass to whatever you got going on, and they're contributing resources, whether that be money, whether that be just time, whether that be people, whatever it is, to get to what they see you saying is some sort of better place. So if you are misusing that power or misleading those people, there's no way I can sit there and be like, oh, I'm gonna just separate you from the movement. Like the movement is the movement. The movement is true. So if you doing anything outside of what the movement is supposed to be pushing, there's no need to separate you from it's already separated. For me, that's just how I look at it.
I look at it like this, unfortunately. Like, I was there for the whole BLM shit on the ground, and I can get into a whole diatribe about that. It was part of elite capture. And so you have a lot of people that are turncoats, that are Black Americans, that are more educated or have access to these nonprofits and stuff, and they came and just co-opted everything. These wasn't just white liberals. These were African Americans. So people can say, "Oh, Taylor," blah, blah, blah. Again, we have our own turncoats. But again, as an organizer, most people are not politically savvy. You know what I'm saying? They really don't have coherent politics. But they look at you as the embodiment of your politics. So with that being said, like, you got to lead by example. Like, as an organizer, I can't separate people from the principle of it because we're human and people watch us. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going out there talking all this fly shit, yeah, that sounds cool or whatever, but they're watching you, and people are human. If they see you're contrary to what your politics are, people are going to get disheartened. They're going to tune out. They're going to say, man, you just like whatever. So the medium is the message. You know what I'm saying? So if you foul, people are going to look at the message as foul. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, as a community organizer, you can't separate, the artist from the artist when you're organizing with the community. You know what I'm saying? You're held to a whole nother accountable standard because you're amongst community. You know what I'm saying? And there's a certain social contract and a certain way you got to move. So when I look at foul people, like, certain people, I can't I can't separate it. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to lead by example.
Is what you're saying more applied to, like you said, the organizers, like the main, for lack of better words, leadership, as opposed to someone that's amongst the group
I
until
would say
they
the
get up
face
to
of it.
speed?
The face of it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like, old boy hustling merch. It's like, well, bro, how serious is you? One day you talking about we the real natives, or you know what I'm saying, we from Egypt, or you know what I'm saying, all that other shit, global Pan-African again. And now it's like, and you bigging up the Haitian Revolution. You have a whole DVD on that. Now you calling Haitians ashy tethers. You know what I'm saying? What is it?
Mm-hmm. Or Blue Vest, wherever he at.
Man,
Same.
don't give me, let me. Man, that nigga blocked me on Twitter, bro. They all had it out for me. Fuck them niggas, dog. I'm still tight about that shit. Fuck them niggas. But yeah, bro.
Okay.
Like, in real movement work, bro, when you're amongst people, bro, people see how you move. And they might, again, politics is real emotional. You know what I'm saying? One of the things my grandpa taught me, because he ran in politics and stuff. I'm not gonna give out the game because people will be able to look that up. But he told me something that resonated with me, and I bring this to my organizing. He was trying to push a policy of like this manufacturing plant that was actually going to employ people in the town. They voted against it because another dude that had an interest with another manufacturing plant didn't want that specific one because he wasn't a part of it, so he wasn't going to get paid. Long story short, it failed to pass. And I was like, Grandpa, like, what happened? Like, everybody was supportive and all this, and whatever. And my grandpa was talking numbers and data. Old boy was talking, oh, this is going to destroy the town. This is going to blah, 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 blah. He was appealing to emotion. And he told me, don't turn a beauty contest into a spelling bee. And unfortunately, politics is very emotional. It's what looks good. It's marketing. So again, when we say, man, why do all black people fall for, a Umar or all this shit? Because it looks good to them. It's the pomp and the circumstance, and it's the pageantry of it, and it looks good. And niggas fall for it. But when you're talking data, policy, and other stuff, and the nitty gritty, it's not an easy sell. You feel me?
For sure. That's a fact. I'm gonna
Okay.
just let that sit. You know, that was a bar. Shout out to your grandpa.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to G Pop, man. So then
Right
we make it simple. We could start bringing it home. If you have one, what is your vision of reparations if they were to ever get granted, and how would you want them allocated?
So go ahead, promise.
I'm not really I'm not gonna say I'm anti-reparations. I just don't think it's gonna be the end all be all for us. And once folks get it, they're kind of gonna lose a lot of identity on what's next for them to try to the hope for them to grab onto. But if it was to be received by the black people of this nation, I would say we gotta look at what sectors in our communities are most affected. If it's education, if it's agriculture, if it's entrepreneurship or just job labor, I think those would be good things to fund into. I don't think it should just go personally into the pocket, because again, if we don't have communities to circle into, our money's not going to circulate. But if it can institute a lot of businesses that were denied grants for decades from families, then for sure, that way we can once again have black bus lines, bus companies. Black Americans have had airline companies at one point that could be revitalized. So yeah, I just feel like it should feed the sectors, but have us say where those sectors go. I don't think it should just be diminished by the feds on what goes where. It should be group-based efforts in every black populated city, or even just areas in general. They it should just go straight towards remedies that historically have been tampered with, or blocked, delineated anyway. Because it's going to take a lot of analytics. I don't really feel like you could sum up a number in reparations for what's been done. It's the medical side alone. I don't feel like I could really put a number on that.
Yeah, picking up on where he left off, I would say agree 100% with what he said. In my analysis, I would say definitely, if it's not going to be a cash payment, which I don't think is necessary, like I don't think that's going to be beneficial. Like you just give folks bread every month for a certain amount of time for the rest of their families, like that's going to get spent. It's just going to go right back. We saw that happen with stimulus checks. So, and that's not even to say like that's a pathology thing with black people or nothing like that. It's just people in general. You get somebody just hands you some bread and you're more than likely going to just spend it. I would say it would have to be in the space of like not necessarily land allocation, but like some type of help with home like buying for black people, like specifically. Education grants, more grants, different remedies when it comes to acceptance. Not to like bring back some like what is it? What's the shit they was mad at before DEI? Affirmative action? Not to bring back affirmative action type shit.
Yeah.
Not that, but like some type of remedy to where there's more funding allocated to where we're not going into the same debt that we are currently. Like Promise said, remedies for the farming and agriculture side of our community that is often forgotten and really struggling right now. But overall, I don't think the shit is gonna happen. Like Alex said, them folks ain't finna. They're not. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not finna do that, bro. They're not. And especially it's like when you look at and it's not even to shoot a shot at them, but like when you look at the administration at the moment and then you look at the ADOS website, it's like, are you niggas kidding me, bro? Like, are y'all serious? You know what I'm saying? So like I don't think it'll come, but if it were to, it would just have to be a lot of ways that black people aren't spending as much and are getting back more from what they put out than what we have up until this point. Because like Promise said, there's no number you can put on it because it's ongoing every single day. Like the the gap grows every single day. So like the day they say, oh yeah, it's gonna be this number, the next day it's like y'all gotta up that. So yeah.
ADOS said 20 trill.
And we got hyperinflation, bro. They printing fucking money. That shit's going probably
Yeah,
27 trillion by now. Shit.
they would print $20 trillion easily and be like, all right, here niggas.
Facts.
And it'd be worthless.
Ray, to answer your question, as far as like reparation repayment, I echo the sentiments of like what's been discussed so far, especially like in the community aspect. If reparations were to come, I would like to see them come in the form of infrastructure. And I'll clarify like what I mean by that. We can't talk on the phone without using a white man's company. You can't purchase a phone without using a company that's not directly black owned. Communication, clothing, food, power, like water regulation, like these like fundamental things to everyday life in some form or fashion go directly through white hands, board of directors, CEOs, LLCs, all this other like fundamental infrastructure that is all white owned, that continually contributes to the systemic racism and oppression that we experience. I would want, I don't know, something crazy, one of each. Like reparations for me would be black people of America being able to be fully sustained without white participation in any form. And that's well more than $20 trillion. Like there's probably not a fundamental number on it, because to make up that type of gap, like would be
it's insurmountable, man. Yeah, it's insurmountable, bro.
I do have a proposal though.
Let's get it.
Like how the Jews do with a heter esker via the bank, like just a non-interest loan. You name your price, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like with proof of, yo, these my folks' paperworks, they was tilling them lands. Here's my business proposal. And they be like, hey man, come on in. You know what I mean? Pick your number, we're gonna write it down. Like say they printing money anyway. Cause
yeah.
certain
I'm gonna
groups,
have a question for that.
I feel like, you know, we should go through a good 500,000 years of just interest free. You can't tax the peoples.
Hold up. I wanted to throw in my reparations goal. So I'm heavy in central planning. That's part of my undergrad, was in urban and regional planning. And there's some models out there. So I kind of look at our reparations kind of roll out kind of similar to what like a 50-year long-term plan, and kind of model it a little bit kind of off of China, how there was capital from Western countries that were able to industrialize their country, but the Chinese, the CCP, had to actually own the company, and they had to do knowledge and capital transfers, meaning that, hey, eventually we're going to own this building and you're going to give us all the capital. You're going to give us the knowledge. You're going to train us and everything. We're going to own the company. Not only that, but all the capital equipment, like all the Caterpillar and all the cranes and all that, we're going to keep that too. So I look at that. Also, they had the Marshall Plan in Europe. That's not very socialist, but how they rebuild Europe with the Marshall Plan after World War II. So there's a couple of models, like every 5-year economic plan, kind of like they did in the Soviet Union for industrialization. But I look at the Chinese model as an actual feasible model that we can kind of replicate with cash payment, because streets got to eat today. You know what I'm saying? It takes a long time to build factories and, you know, all that shit. Niggas got to eat today. Niggas got to pay bills today. So with that being said, long-term economic development plan of actually industrializing, you know, the black community, kind of similar to like the Chinese miracle, Chinese century, with a cash payment to sustain until you're on your feet.
Hey man. And one fell swoop, Alex and said 3 terms that they gonna come and get us with.
Yeah, they're gonna drop it. Yeah, they're gonna drop the
Did
bomb.
he
Off.
say China? But
Hey man, I fucks with G, my nigga. That nigga go hard, bro.
See,
You know
he
what I'm
trying to get us shut. This your first appearance, and you trying to get us shut down. This crazy.
I love it. I will say, at least for my tidbit, man. But, and then before I come back to promise, because you had said something, I'm trying to refresh my memory. But simple terms for me, I'm with Patrice O'Neal, man. If we're gonna start reparations, if you can prove that you from here, you shouldn't have to pay federal taxes. That's the way I look at it. You're not asking for a handout and money not leaving your pocket at the same time, right? Do with that as you will, right? So to me, that's a simple start. Nobody has to pay either side, and you could walk away and at least get that ball rolling. And whatever money we keep within house, that's where, to Promise's point, these lodges and charters, we start working that method and going from there. I understand the aspect that every time we get something started, they come and burn it down. We're fully aware of that. Yes. That it's easier said than done, but that shouldn't make us shy away from doing that altogether. So to me, that's a simple 1-step process to at least get your feet walking. You dig what I'm saying? We should not have to pay federal taxes if you're able to prove your lineage. That seems to satisfy all 3 groups: ADOS, FBA, and Pan-Africanism.
And our tax time, when the tax time come around, just because we ain't paid federal income, so we should get all that bread that we ain't spend back. That's the cash payment. Like tally up how much we would have spent if we paid federal taxes for the year, whoop-de-whoop, and then just give it to us.
Like break it down evenly. No, you just whatever as a totality for the census. Okay, I see. Yeah. See, read, niggas, read.
Come on. Socialism with Chinese characteristics, man. They going in on economic development, man. Look at this shit. I'm telling you. The model is there. China done took over the world. and they trying to fuck with Africa. They got all the resources. Come on, bro. Think about it.
Trying to. They've been in there. They're not trying to. You know. Homie Ev said that's not enough. What would you suggest? Because you got to start somewhere. And when you're saying that's not enough, is that to who specific plan? Because we done thrown out a mix of them. To Promise, you had said something. My mind just went blank on it too.
Oh, real quick. Also in the comments for Promise, what are charters and lodges from Terry Lynn? Shout out Terry Lynn, gang.
They're the lodge is like a small what would you call it, like a hall, a space, a community space where folks can get together for events, ideas, debates, gather momentum for grassroots movements. Prince Hall Masons in general, they use halls for their gatherings. Sororities, fraternities, just organizations in general have lodges globally, so that way even if you go to the Bahamas, you can still link up in the same manner. Or if we move in a Pan-African way, we can go take it towards any country where we have a lodge at and continue on the same ideas, exchange knowledge in safe, isolated, on our time. It's not just a billboard saying, yo, we live at the amphitheater with it. So we can actually move without so much resistance.
Yeah, I agree. We do need some mutual aid societies. We used to have those back in the day for African Americans, but we can't have no Prince Hall Freemasons, bro. That's that boule nigga shit. We can't be fucking with the boule no more, bro. You dig? Them days is over with.
Philadelphia, and I can't even condone. I feel you.
I'm just saying.
But we should. Secret society characteristics. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
For sure.
They don't know.
Underground cadre. Yeah, for sure.
Facts.
You know, our
Right.
exchanges change every day. Our languages, our dances, folks can't keep
Yeah.
up. They can only keep with it to monetize it. So when we really
Yeah.
close doors, but stay in communication, because we do it via social media or through a phone, it's going through the satellite first. The data is already collected, and not to say that people wouldn't try to infiltrate those said spaces, but we'd have more regulations and routines for those measures in today's time, because we already seen it happen for centuries. You know what I mean? I feel like we would move smarter, but even if it's a city hall, it could be a public city hall, but as long as people have the time and space on multiple different days of sessions to have these gatherings, so that way we can push legislation in our likeness, we can push certain state laws in our likeness. Folks don't have to scramble for knowledge during election year times, because we're on a hamster wheel every time. So folks go into the polling office and researching what's going on then and there. We could actually have discussions to sit on, digest, share with our kids. Kids wouldn't be foreign ideas to them on these certain things, so they don't have to grow up and have a culture shock of what the real world actually is. They know how to move in those certain ways and movements and wisdom in general. So
and I want to add right quick. Sorry, promise. Knowledge. What we plan on doing at this platform, this is something coming directly from Ray. This is live in real time. When next time they do polling, midterms, any new updates to whatever laws, propositions that they're doing, here you're gonna see Alex and I breaking down Texas, and whoever else gonna come in, we're gonna have an own dedicated episode. I expect to see Promise, Bodega, and Nick breaking down whatever's happening out in their area. That's what we are going to do with this platform. Once we see it start coming out, especially a quarter, 2 quarters out before they really get there, that's what we're trying to do in the effort of community until we start getting these spaces. Sometimes your lodge might be virtual. I'm just letting y'all know that's what the game plan is. Midterms, Alex, midterms in Texas coming up this year. They've been lobbying all the commercials, man. That's the only downside of watching sports. They keep forcing this shit. It's been brown on brown war every single time I turn on the TV over here, bro.
They been hitting me up. Jasmine Crockett, people been hitting me up. I'm saying, like, dog, I can look up. Look, one thing I'll say for niggas right now, bro. Look up these people voting record. You can Google their voting record, dog. They're a legislature. They're a lawmaker. I don't give a fuck what talking points they have or what they say on CNN. Look what they're actually voting for.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Nick, do you want to respond to Ev before we go into the final question? Because Alex,
yeah. Let me pull them up real quick. So to this piece of just saying take the federal taxes and give it back. That's just an add-on. I'm not saying that's the full extent of what we getting. It's everything that we said plus that. Like, we not paying the taxes and give us the money back and all of the investment into the infrastructure that everybody spoke on. So yeah, it wasn't just just give us that as the reparation. That wasn't it.
Yeah. All right. So last question that we have, we got to talk about it. It's currently the now. Keep it clean, man. Next 3 years, who's in office right now. You know who the president is. What are our predictions in tandem with this conversation that we're having, and how do you move, or how would y'all recommend moving, prepping for pretty much the rest of Project 2025?
Real quick. For us, I'm going to only say be more communal. That's the only way to move. Get more in person with your people in whatever fashion that you can. Like, I know you see your folks every day on the internet, but you're not actually seeing your people. Go see your people. Get in contact with them. Speak to them. Talk about what you're scared of. Talk about what your aspirations are, and figure out how to organize and meet other people that y'all can do that with and work towards a concerted goal. That's all I'm gonna give us in predictions, because I'm not finna speak no ill on us. But for you white people, they coming. Actually, they here. They already here. They smacking shit. They outside smacking shit. So we're not gonna be there. All right, we working on our shit right now. We in the crib with it. Y'all go get you some guns, go get you some masks, go get you some milk. You know what I'm saying? Go get you your grandfather's homie that's a lawyer on retainer. Get him. And just, lock in, put that seatbelt on, and keep stay dangerous. That's all I got for them, because The way Buddy is getting active, there's war coming. There may be internal martial law coming, which I'm not gonna say isn't gonna affect us. I'm just saying I'm not worried about that right now because we will be prepared. Y'all ain't never been here before. So, you know,
You're unfamiliar.
You know what I'm saying? Like this every day for us. Like when Buddy first got in the office, my homie hit me, white homie hit me, and he was just like, "Man, you know, like, are you scared?" And I was like, "Nigga, no."
Hey,
Yeah, worse shit happened, bro.
Come on, bro. Yeah, all the black people started sounding like Bane.
Yeah, for real.
I was born into it.
I was born into it, bro. What you talking about? But yeah, for Bodega, promise, Alex, what y'all got for the next 3 years?
Man, hey man, listen, man.
Oh yeah, go get no. This your runway. Go crazy.
Listen, man, I need y'all to understand something. Like the historical context of Project 2025 is just a re-rock of Reaganomics. If you do not know, if you have not seen, if you do not understand, re-rock of Reaganomics. This is re-rock of the Bush administration. Listen, war is the name of the fucking game. War is the name of the game. There always needs to be an enemy. This time, the enemy is within U.S. soil. That's the only difference, right? War drives economies. War drives the police state. War drive it is a fundamental driver. So the nigga that y'all voted for, who said I'm gonna eliminate wars, only pulled out of wars that were not of his interest. Wars that he could not make money from, i.e., Ukraine. Wars that he could make money from, i.e., the genocide in Israel, full steam ahead. Shit, Venezuela, full steam ahead.
Free Maduro.
Greenland, full speed ahead. And like, which I think like my overarching thing is what I actually want to say is that the plan is the plan, and the plan is on fucking track. It's on track. There's not going to be an untimely event that is going to remove the plan from being on track. There's not a presidential change that is going to change the plan from being on track. There's not a congressional intervention or a Supreme Court ruling that is going to change the trajectory of the plan. Again, go back and look at Reaganomics. Please just go back and look. It's the same exact group who wrote Project 2025, wrote the playbook for Reaganomics, and they ran amok. For black people, specifically, you niggas, which means all of us, take shit offline. You niggas are on the timeline arguing about relationships and $40 and spaghetti and niggas cheating and all this other bullshit, all this other dumb shit, all this other shit that's meant to distract you. And I understand niggas need that distraction. I get it. Take shit offline. The culture, the playbook, the words, how we talk, why we talk, when we talk. Nobody needs to bear witness to it. Nobody at all. Take that shit offline, organize offline, do everything that you need to do offline. And the only time it's online is when shit is already in motion. It's already documented, whatever case. Put your fucking cameras away. Put your cameras away. Go, listen, go learn some different languages. Go get your passport. Go to the gun range. Go to your local community garden. Go to your local library. If the books that you're looking for are banned in the library or they banned online, go find a nigga who know a nigga.
And like, just real quick, just for y'all that didn't put it together yet, Promise is the digital library guy. This is the guy. The link in every description to books for y'all to read is from him. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Just but go ahead, Bodega.
Fact, nah. It's 100% facts. Go find a nigga who know a nigga. Okay, if you don't know mechanical shit, go find a nigga who do know it. And if you can't find it, then you need to learn it. If you don't know agriculture, you need to learn it. If you don't know, like, whatever it is that are like your fundamental gaps to human living, you need to go learn that shit and take it the fuck offline, my nigga. Shit is not cool. It's not peaceful. Like, it's not, we're not wading in the water. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to wait out a storm. I think this isn't a storm that gets waited out. For everybody else, niggas told you. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Niggas told you. Listen to black women. Wouldn't be in this fucking mess. Listen to black women.
Promise.
Yeah, White House, they updating their bunker as we speak. So, right, and I feel like it's going to take more than 2.5 to really get that joint finished. He's not looking at this term as, who's next. He already told folks y'all ain't got to vote again. Folks heard it and followed. So unless we get real Haitian, real French with it, he gonna be our problem for a minute. You know what I mean? It's only gonna get wackier. It's only gonna get worse. But at the same time, too, a lot of people haven't experienced something that they spiritually would feel like is worth the fight. It's been a lot of distractions. You know what I mean? This place been Roman circus on steroids longer than all of us been born. So I feel like if the struggle is gonna be harder to deny, and the realities of certain things, you know what I mean, is gonna be hard to deny, and the timeline ain't gonna be able to save, or the timeline conversations ain't gonna be able to save folks after a while. And yeah, some people are gonna be late bloomers on it, but against the natural way of how societies go up and down, if as long as you learn a solid skill, you have transferable currency with you within a society, within a community. You might not know how to plant, but you know how to sow. You know what I mean? Some people can cook, but they can't sew. So that's where you're able to barter. The knowledge that we carry on the everyday that we take for granted is things that you can barter. And those are things that we're going to need to implement more than ever, because the dollar's only getting weaker. More wars is coming closer to these waters. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people have this this mentality that's like similar to the Israelis, where like it's easy to point and laugh at situations elsewhere until it hits you, and then we sound like the white folks, like, oh, what happened? It's like, this shit been happening. It's been happening to black and brown people. I remember when folks was pleading, showing folks videos of people in Palestine saying, yo, this looks just like you. And folks like, some Dominican shit, like, no. I'm over here with it, you know what I mean? The state's over here, y'all niggas tell it. Folks saying biblically, you know what I mean? Things going on is relevant historically from how folks even got to over here, because niggas saying there was no slave ships over here, but yet white folks, the only people know how to get over here for some reason. You know what I mean? So it's either they indigenous to the land or some other shit. But neither here nor there. I wouldn't even say Trump is the issue. He's just the face of the issue. He ain't birthed these ideas, and he amped the right ideas, or the ideas people wanted to hear in their head. He was the one to jump the gun this hard since Reagan. So, these next 3 years gonna be as tragic as it's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, that's a fact. Alex.
Yeah, I mean, y'all hit everything on the head for real. Move militant, save your money, strap up, be in community, build those bonds with folks off the internet. Don't post everything on the internet. Stop doom scrolling. Stop with the brain rot and the slop. You know what I'm saying? Read some fucking books, go outside, touch grass, be around some folks. Cause yeah, if you think it's bad, it's just about to get way worse. Way worse. The economy is in fucking free fall. They trying to patch the bullshit up, bro. And it ain't happening. And it's like these niggas are speed running the destruction of the fall of the United States empire, bro. And what comes after that is going to be even fucking worse, because now you got these psychopathic billionaires with AI that can watch everything at any time. You know what I'm saying? We're ran by some real psychopaths, sociopaths, bro. It's real bad. So
Speaking of, let me I'm sorry to interrupt, but just like on the community piece and taking shit offline, the key word in this is inclusion. I want to drive home that point because we didn't even talk about this like earlier, but the key shit is inclusion, which means, hey, my Muslim brothers and sisters who preach against homophobia, you niggas need to get the fuck out the way. My Christian brothers and sisters who preach against homophobia, you niggas need to get the fuck out of the way. My fellow
preach homophobia, not against homophobia, but preach homophobia. I think just so you don't miss that.
Oh yeah, okay. So what I'm saying is that inclusion is the name of the game. Listen to the black women in your life. Listen to the black queer people in your life. Okay. Our communities do not exist without them. Our culture do not exist without them. Like we cannot sustain ourselves without them. If you are in any sort of system that includes a patriarchy first mindset or includes exclusion, like no, bro, we cannot do anything without all of us. And I'm not telling you to be a monolith, whatever case. I'm not telling you to change your core fucking beliefs, but you will get with the program or you will get the fuck out the way. It's as simple as that.
To the inclusion piece, I would say too, tactically build your alliances with those that can be allies.
Yes.
Like not, and again, this ain't to shoot at the other two movements that we talking about. I know we talking intercommunally and global community, diasporally to connect, but even still, like back to the Rainbow Coalition, there are poor white, Mexican, Venezuelan, brown folks that are just as fucked up. They may not have the exact same history that come with everything, and y'all niggas may not agree on everything. They may have some shit that you got to check them about, but that's a part of the process too. The same way we got to check ourselves in-house. If we gon' come together and actually try to topple whatever this regime is about to do, it's not gonna come with all of these factions separated and then trying to move at the same time. You're gonna have to overlap and move as a unit, and in that it's gonna be some infighting, but that shouldn't deter you from the movement itself.
I gotta double down on that further. I'm sorry, I know we going back and forth, but like this includes you nignogs who like to exclude people who you consider less black than yourself.
True. Yeah.
Bro, that shit is frustrating. That shit is frustrating. But like, inclusion is the name of the fucking game.
Can I pick up right there?
Yes, sir.
We need to have an understanding before we include others as well. So I'm gonna start with before Project 2025, there was Reaganomics, just like you said. Before that, it was PNAC, Project for the American New Century. We've known about this. We talked about this on the pod dating way back to the early 1900s. That's been the game plan. That's the Reaganian. That's how they call it, neo-Reaganian, right? Once Reaganomics started picking up. So all the way up until this past election, right after the election happened, when all of us, not being a monolith, decided to be a monolith. You heard me say this before. We saw the election results. We said, say less, and we drew back. We went through all of 2025 of them having to figure out how to do a trend, how to do whatever they needed to do. And Black people said, we gonna mind our business. In the midst of us minding our business is when we do the inclusive piece of what you're talking about, what Nick is talking about, all of y'all. We talk to us. And in that, we should encourage other groups to have a conversation at the table amongst themselves. And then we meet up outside. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we get a little bit distracted when trying to be overly inclusive, because just like we said in this conversation, we may not have the foundation that's consistent enough amongst us before we start trying to spread our resources thin, if you will. Mm-hmm. It's not to say that we don't have them there, but this type of conversation that we're doing right now pick up the frequency of that, especially as we see what's coming down the pipeline. Make sure you're consistent in that as well. So going outside to touch grass, like you said, go hug a loved one, go sit down with those, especially within our age group. That millennial age group is going to be one of the most pivotal going forward, and we know that. We're all in that time of change, especially as men, as we start to discover who we are in our manhood, as we start to discover who we are. If you haven't already hit in your own religion, you're discovering what you're going to be in a relationship, et cetera, right? Having that conversation in-house will help you embrace the inclusiveness, because a lot of y'all just don't know. Whether you chose to be willfully ignorant, whether you haven't been made aware, whatever the case may be. So having that inclusiveness and having that conversation in-house, and then start getting out to expanding that inclusiveness outside once you go touch grass and you get in a community.
And to that point, because I just want to make this clear, the Rainbow Coalition wasn't just this kumbaya group where every time white folks had an issue, the black folks was pulling up. The same, not to say we could do this the same way, but in the same vein or in the same trajectory or inspiration, you can have a foundation for yourself, as the Black Panthers did. Meet with other groups that are having their own situations in another place, figuring out, okay, where can I help y'all? Where can you help me? We can help y'all at this over here. All right, cool. We'll be there. That other thing y'all got going on over there, that ain't got nothing to do with us, and we will not be there for that. And and neither side taking no slight in that. It's it's just more organization, more communication, and again, off the fucking internet.
Do not fall for the bait of the Brown versus Brown war that they have instigated.
Facts.
Do not fall for that bait. Alex, you know, we got politicians right now talking about how they're trying to ban Islam and remove anybody like Brown versus. We got Hispanic politicians running that as their campaign. Do not fall for the bait.
What you got
Brown versus Brown, bro.
If you don't take anything else from this, take this. It is the 1% versus the rest of us.
Facts.
It is not the Browns versus the blacks, the whites versus the blacks, the whites versus the whites, the blacks versus black. It is the 1% that are controlling the means of production and owning the means of production versus everybody else.
This is a class war. Everything else is propaganda.
Yeah, birds. Yeah, birds, man. Well, fellas, I think we kind of kicked ass, man. Y'all got anything else y'all want to add to this?
I'm good. Promise if you got something.
Yeah, I was going to say, if folks want like reference for good authors, scholars, educators, I'd recommend Claude Anderson and his books. I'd recommend Juwanza Kunjufu and his books. I recommend people looking into Barbara Sizemore and what she's did with the schools. I'd recommend, if you're in Atlanta, look up Alonzo Herndon and what he's did with Atlanta Life Mutual for Black people, including for protests, because he helped pay for people whether you had to take off work or in case you went to jail, because, you know, the same problem we have with a lot of protests outside of the dangers is you got work, you know what I mean? Or your schedule is conflicted, or you don't have the money for bail. That was covered for a good time, even through his son later on in life. So Alonzo Herndon, he has a lot to do with Auburn Avenue in Atlanta, which is also like, you know, an inner Kemet in Atlanta when it comes to the gold that's still here that people don't see. And yeah, look for libraries, like Black literature libraries via Google Drive, via downloadable links. That's where I picked up during COVID, a little bit before then, but COVID was where I really ramped up on just gaining literature archives to share around for personal benefit. I've never had a library link that I haven't built or shared, have not shared with Nick and others at the same time that I received it, just because, you know, once you get information, the best thing to do is pass on that information so y'all could connect later on higher intellect. And yeah, that's my take, you know.
And let me add something too. Shout out to Kai Sinet for reading online. Our literacy rates are in the trash in the Black community. And I don't want people to, oh man, I can't read, or oh, that's too hard for me. Bro, power through it. You can look up the words, they could pronounce it for you, even if it's an audio book. You push yourself to read it. It's gonna take time for you to learn certain words and concepts. Don't feel bad about it. Just read audiobook or whatever you got to do and thug through it.
That's a fact. One more author I wanted to give y'all too is Franz Fanon, The Wretched of the Earth. Read that and just that, sit on it, read it again, and then come to the table and we can chop it.
And if you want a more fictional take of what's taking place today, right? Because I know not everybody. Parable of the Sours. You already know Octavia E. Butler. Go read her shit, please. Go read it. If you need a fictional version, because you know what I'm saying, serious shit may be a little scary for you. I get you. Go read Octavia E. Butler's Parables of the Sour. It is a fantastic book. Fantastic, and touches on a lot of the points that we're discussing here today.
You ever heard of the book Faces at the Bottom of a Well?
Nah,
yeah,
I haven't.
Definitely tap
it. I haven't read it, but I've heard of the book.
I've heard it, but I haven't read it.
And if you need something, I'm still gonna promote reading first. But if you have any other confusion, man, just go watch Attack on Titan. They're gonna tell you everything.
I mean, yeah. If you like, hey, speaking of all former media, Attack on Titan, Gundam 00, Geass, like shit, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, like. Designated Survivor, like however the fuck you need to get it in. Like,
look, one thing them Japanese did was start telling us through anime exactly what the gameplay is. But for everything that Promise said, Bodega said, Nico said, Alex said, myself, we will also have the links in this very video. And we'll make sure to have it on our platform as well, just so you can go and touch bases anytime, especially for the Cyberry, bro. That's so dope. If y'all have something that y'all want to add as people that are watching, let us know, man. Like he said, stop being selfish. Don't be a nignog. Spread the information if you can. And at the same time, go outside, touch grass, and keep it offline. Right? What you read and how you processed it should be an in-house conversation. You don't have to go announce that. And if you out there announcing it the same way that we look at people that say, oh, I play chess, you don't play no chess, shut the fuck up. Right? Keep moving. Keep moving. You don't got to announce it when you move accordingly, man. But we did our thing, man. We appreciate it for all of those that are still here with us and then watching this later on, man. Like, comment, and subscribe. Right? Like, comment, and subscribe. Please let us know what your thoughts are. You know where to find us: YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at the Keep It Clean Show. We are still debating in-house on whether or not we participate with Twitter. We're still debating that in-house.
Nah, Elon, bro, he a white snob, bro. Anything with Musk is done.
Listen, this is because this is like, as somebody who'd been off Twitter for the last couple of weeks, what dawned on me the other day is like, when you have a moment where you think of something that's like, oh, I should tweet this, just text it to your homeboy.
Straight up.
Text it to your homeboy. If you absolutely need an alternative to Twitter, because I know how it go, you know what I'm saying? Please join Black Sky and not Blue Sky, right? Blue Sky is the overall PDS, but it is decentralized, and there is a really good brother over there by the name of Rudy that's created Black Sky based upon that PDS. It's completely independent. It's on its own servers. It's on its own thing, its own moderation. There's no ads. There's none of that. And he's working on limiting Black Sky to Black Sky. So like, if you are not a Black Sky member, you can toggle some shit that allows only Black Sky members to communicate with you. It's not taking it offline, but it is definitely, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever case.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. So, man, we appreciate all y'all tapping in with us, man. This is the Keep It Clean show. We love y'all. Thank y'all. We'll be back.
We out.